she believes that they have caught the true killer of Charlie Kirk, right? Do you believe that? The person that we have in custody, is that the person that pulled the trigger? Is that the only person that pulled the trigger? Anyways, I want you to hear it directly from her and not me recapping what she said, or reiterating it rather. It's gone viral because of what she didn't say, to be honest with you. Take a listen.
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
So, something I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams to have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected. I trust our team.
Something is happening, and this time it is not quiet, not polite, and definitely not something Turning Point USA can sweep under a rug. A brand new video clip has just surfaced online, and it is already blowing up across every major platform.
What the true answers are, and I think that's why this is going viral, because they're going, okay, does she actually believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone? And obviously Jesse is not going to push her on that, because it would have probably felt more like an interrogation rather than just sitting down and speaking through some of these topics that are probably hard to talk about in general. But I am hopeful that what she's implying is that she trusts her team to do the due diligence. She says that she has seen the autopsy report. She has seen certain things. Obviously, none of us have seen the autopsy report. And I don't know. I didn't know what to make of that. Is she saying that there's more that's going to come out? Is that kind of a foreshadowing that more is going to come out and things are going to be clear? I hope so. I really do. Because in terms of what the public has seen so far, I would say nothing has been convincing. And I'm trying to imagine what they would have that the public hasn't seen that could be sort of a smoking gun. And in theory, it would be the footage.
In this footage, Candace Owens sends what people are calling the most savage public message yet to Erika Kirk, and the internet is officially losing it. The message is blunt, the tone is ice cold, and Candace is making it very clear that she is done watching what she calls a calculated silence from Turning Point USA highest ranks. For weeks, the tension between Candace Owens and Erika Kirk has been building. But now, Candace is not just asking questions, she is demanding answers. In the newly leaked recording, Candace looks directly into the camera and says that the world deserves to see everything. Every document, every text message, every timestamp, every frame of footage from that tragic day when Charlie Kirk's life was taken. She says transparency is not optional anymore, it is mandatory, and anyone standing in the way of truth is going to be exposed, one piece at a time. Supporters are calling it one of the boldest moves Candace has made so far. Critics are calling it reckless. But regardless of which side people are on, one thing is clear. No one expected this to escalate this fast. Candace is not talking in vague hints anymore. She is naming names, describing behavior, and showing receipts that she claims the public was never supposed to see. And here is where it gets wild.
So when I saw this moment, I was just thinking about myself and a lot of emotions and grieving that I have experienced, and all the emotions that I've shared with you guys, and the anger that I have felt. And I want to be very clear that I am not that example that she is giving. I could have never, and I know that so many people agree with this, I could have never forgiven Tyler Robinson for whatever part he played in this. And obviously I'm saying whatever part he played in this because I don't believe that he was the lone person involved. I don't even think he's the person that killed Charlie Kirk. But even if you believe all of those things, I never could have turned around and forgiven him that quickly, right?
Candace suggests that Erika Kirk may be part of a quiet image strategy, a kind of behind the scenes rebranding effort meant to protect Turning Point USA from internal collapse. And according to Candace, that plan might include preparing Mikey McCoy, Charlie's longtime right-hand man, to eventually step into a leadership position. Yes, that same Mikey McCoy, who was only a few feet away on the day everything went down. That same Mikey, whose reaction on camera has been replayed millions of times and continues to raise eyebrows. Because here is what viewers cannot stop talking about. At the exact moment chaos erupted, When every normal person would have panicked or ducked or screamed or looked for help, Mikey did none of those things. Instead, he lifts a phone to his ear and walks, calmly, almost casually, away from the scene. No expression, no visible shock, nothing. People say it is one of the strangest pieces of footage they have ever seen, and Candace knows that. She brings it up again and again. She says it is not just unusual behavior. It is behavior that deserves scrutiny. The public, she insists, is owed an explanation, especially when Turning Point USA leaders keep repeating that there is absolutely nothing to hide. But if there is nothing to hide, then why are so many details still not adding up? Candace points out how the story keeps changing. At one moment, Pastor Rob McCoy says he received a phone call from his son, Mikey, right after the incident. In another statement, Erika suggests she was the one on that call. So which version is true? Why is something so basic shifting around? And why does Turning Point USA refuse to clarify it publicly when the confusion is causing speculation to explode online? It is questions like these that Candace says she is tired of asking politely. In the clip, she addresses Erika directly, criticizing her decision to move forward with executive leadership so quickly. Candace says it feels more like a branding campaign than a grieving widow seeking justice. She says someone should have stepped in as an interim CEO, someone neutral, someone focused only on truth, not on preserving Turning Point USA reputation. And that brings us to the part that is sending shockwaves across social media. Candace claims that Turning Point USA seems more invested in protecting Erika's public image and defending Mikey's role than in demanding real answers about what happened to Charlie. She shares messages from supporters who say they cannot understand how so many people inside the organization appear emotionally detached from Charlie's death. Some have gone so far as to believe Charlie might still be alive, not because they are delusional, Candace says, but because they are reacting to what she calls a chilling lack of urgency from the people who should care the most. It is a harsh allegation, but one that has struck a nerve with viewers. Meanwhile, insiders claim Erika is planning new events, booking media appearances, and preparing future projects like nothing ever happened. Some say she is simply trying to stay strong and move forward. Others say it feels too fast, too polished, too prepared. As one viewer wrote online, it does not look like grief, it looks like strategy. And things only get more intense from there. Candace reveals that certain Turning Point USA figures are trying to block cameras from the upcoming courtroom proceedings. She rejects the idea entirely. She says there were cameras all over Charlie when he was alive, cameras all over her family and friends as they mourned, cameras watching every tear, every prayer, every step of this entire nightmare. So why should the courtroom be any different? Why not show everything if the truth is so solid? Then she delivers what many are calling the most chilling line of the entire message. Let everyone see what true evil is. Those words are already being shared everywhere. The clip ends with Candace saying she has reviewed the case file, and she believes it is stronger than the public knows. She calls for full transparency, not later, but now. She says turning away from the truth is not loyalty. It is corruption, and she will not be part of it. Online comments are exploding. Thousands of people are reposting snippets of her statement, demanding Turning Point USA explain why Candace, with no official role in their leadership, is fighting harder for answers than the very people running the organization. Memes are circulating, influencers are reacting, journalists are digging, and supporters are begging Candace not to stop. They say she is the only one refusing to be intimidated, but this is only the beginning. Because the second Candace posted that message, something shifted. People who stayed quiet before are starting to send information. Insiders are whispering, screenshots are circulating, And if even a fraction of what is being hinted at is real, then this story is far from over. In fact, it might be the start of one of the biggest political scandals in the conservative movement. And that leads us into what comes next. The leaked messages, the Romanian charity allegations, the claims about overseas operations, the lawsuit threats, and the people Candace says are working overtime to silence her voice. But we will get to all of that soon. Everything changed the moment Candace refused to walk away. The silence from Turning Point USA might have worked on anyone else, but not this time, and definitely not with someone who has built an entire career calling out hypocrisy wherever she sees it. And now, more leaks, more screenshots, and more behind the scenes messages are surfacing, creating a storm so loud that even the most loyal defenders of Erika Kirk and her circle can no longer ignore it. Because what is coming out now does not just involve Erika or Mikey McCoy, it goes deeper, much deeper. Candace Owens is now pulling on threads connected to the organization's core leadership, and every time she does, another piece of the puzzle falls loose. And the picture forming underneath is looking more complicated and more suspicious by the day. It starts with a name that keeps resurfacing, Tyler Bauer, Turning Point USA Chief Operating Officer and one of the most influential gatekeepers inside the movement. According to Candace, Tyler might not only be involved in internal political maneuvering, but may have crossed serious professional and ethical boundaries. She says insiders have come forward with stories about workplace behavior that should never be ignored, not by any organization, and especially not by one that brands itself as a moral and patriotic force for the next generation. One of the most unsettling details being whispered involves Tyler's alleged relationship with younger staff members. A trusted source claims that several people inside the organization tried to report the inappropriate behavior, but nothing came from it. Emails were dismissed, concerns were minimized, and those who pushed too hard were quietly sidelined. And that is when one witness delivered a detail that stunned even Candace. Tyler might have been involved in inappropriate overseas dealings, supposedly linked to orphanage and humanitarian work in Ukraine. The same pattern of secrecy people are now questioning about Erika's Romanian Angels Foundation begins to appear again. But this time with a different country, different programs, and the same unsettling lack of transparency. The timing alone has the internet raising eyebrows. People are asking whether these multiple charity projects were actually humanitarian efforts, or a carefully constructed network of influence and power that most supporters never realized existed. But that is not even the wildest part. Because if the whispers are true, Tyler might have been the one who introduced Erika to Charlie in the first place. Let that sink in. The man now accused of manipulating influence within Turning Point USA might have been responsible for connecting Erika and Charlie, creating the very relationship at the center of this entire storm. Viewers online are asking the same question Candace is now hinting at. Was this simply coincidence, or was something being orchestrated from the very beginning? Now, Candace is not saying it is fact. Not yet, but she is asking why the same names keep circling back to each other. Why the same people pushing for silence are the same ones who benefit from it. Why the same leaders calling Candace unstable are the ones who refuse to release the full timeline, the full phone records, the full camera angles, and every unedited second of footage from that day. And that brings us to the moment things went from disturbing to explosive. A Texas delegate named Tricia Hope stepped forward with what she says was a personal phone exchange with Tyler after she publicly commented that Charlie's death did not add up. Instead of reassuring her or clarifying anything, Tyler allegedly told her he did not appreciate her remarks. Tricia says she answered the same way millions of Americans would. If there is nothing to hide, then why not release a clear, complete, verified public statement explaining exactly what happened? Simple question. No answer, and when Tricia pressed for specifics, whether an official medical review was done, whether the engraved items investigators once mentioned were ever recovered, Tyler allegedly dismissed the questions as made up. But if they were made up, then why did those claims appear in early investigative chatter? And why did they suddenly disappear when people realized they did not make sense? Once again, the story shifts. Once again, details change. Once again, the silence gets louder. People are now calling it one of the most confusing public tragedies they have ever seen. Not because facts are unavailable, but because the individuals closest to the truth are refusing to treat the public with honesty. And that is exactly what Candace has been shouting from the rooftop. She says Turning Point USA wants everyone to trust them while providing no transparency. They want faith without facts, allegiance without evidence, support without accountability. And that is why Candace says the rumors are getting out of control. The longer the organization stays silent, the more people wonder if something far darker is sitting underneath. She says it should never have reached this point. And the only reason it has is because the people who claim to love Charlie the most are behaving as if his death is an inconvenience they want to get past as quickly as possible. Candace then makes a statement that hits like a hammer. If you cared about Charlie, you would be fighting harder than me. That line has ignited a fire inside the conservative movement. Thousands of supporters are now turning their frustration toward Turning Point USA leadership, demanding answers they never wanted to ask. Because somewhere in all this, a man died, a leader, a friend, a husband, and while people around him speak about moving forward, building new chapters, and preparing new organizations, his memory is becoming a battlefield between those who seek truth and those who seek silence. The internet is asking a question that grows louder every single day. If Candace Owens, who is not even part of Turning Point USA leadership, is the only person fighting for answers, then what does that say about the people who are? But here is the part nobody is ready for, the part that is coming next, the part Candace hinted at in her latest message when she said, "I have more, a lot more." What kind of evidence is she holding that has Turning Point USA insiders threatening legal action? Why are they trying to label her unstable instead of confronting the questions? Why are gag orders being discussed if everything is as simple as the official story claims? Something is not adding up. And the deeper you look into this case, the more it feels like every answer only leads to more questions. And those questions, they are pointing directly at the highest levels of Turning Point USA. And that is where Section 3 is headed. This is where everything changes. This is the point where the story stops being strange and becomes something far more disturbing. Because when Candace Owens refused to back down, Turning Point USA leadership did not simply disagree with her. They allegedly launched a quiet campaign to destroy her credibility entirely. And the tool they attempted to use was not evidence, not facts, not transparency, but a psychological attack meant to convince the public that Candace was mentally unstable. It began as a whisper, a rumor circulating through anonymous accounts and private group chats. The phrase kept appearing again and again, postpartum psychosis. It did not take long before the rumor evolved into a coordinated talking point. The claim was simple and sinister that Candace was not asking legitimate questions. She was not well. It was not about truth, they said. It was hormones. It was instability. It was madness. According to Candace, that lie did not develop organically online. She claims she has reason to believe it originated much closer to the situation, with Erika Kirk. The rumor gained new gravity when Candace received a voice note, one she says is directly connected to Erika's circle. In that recording, Someone suggests that Candace's questions about Charlie's death are nothing more than a symptom of psychological disorder. It was a move that many mothers found especially offensive because postpartum psychosis is not a joke, not an insult, and not a weapon for political protection. It is a real, serious medical crisis affecting women across the world. And to allegedly use it as a shield to discredit a woman demanding answers about a man who died is something many say crosses a line that can never be uncrossed. Candace says she has the voice note, the messages, and if necessary, she will hand it all to attorneys. And this is where the situation escalates even further, because shortly after the smear campaign began, a Turning Point USA employee allegedly contacted Candace's legal team and warned them that leadership might be preparing a gag order, a legal attempt to silence her from asking more questions. That means an organization that promotes free speech, debate, and transparency could be preparing a legal strategy designed to shut down a grieving investigation before it even starts. And if that is true, then it raises a powerful question. What truth is so dangerous that they would rather destroy Candace Owens than disclose it? Candace responded to the reported legal threat with 2 words that sent shockwaves through her audience: try it. She stated publicly that she has shared only a fraction of what she knows, and if she is forced into court, she will bring everything. She says she will release screenshots, audio recordings, witness statements, and every name involved. And that threat has shifted the internet's perception dramatically, because now, this is no longer simply about unanswered questions, it is about power. Millions of people are now demanding full transparency. They want the complete, unedited timeline of Charlie's final hours. They want the official medical findings, every detail. They want clarity about the engraved items that investigators allegedly mentioned early on. They want full cellular records, not summaries, and they want to know who was informed, who was present, and who tried to shut down communication. This leads to a question few have dared to speak aloud, but many are now thinking. Is this truly about Charlie's death? Or is it about protecting an empire built on influence, access, and control? Because before Candace reached this stage, she hinted at something else, something almost no one expected. She claimed that Charlie may have been considering major internal changes at Turning Point USA. Changes that could have restructured leadership and possibly shifted power away from the very people who are now shaping the narrative. If that is correct, even hypothetically, then this controversy is not only about a tragedy. It may be about a transition that never got the chance to happen. Now, to be precise, Candace is not accusing anyone of a crime. The public is not claiming to have definitive answers. What they are demanding is transparency. Because too many statements have changed, too many details disappeared, too many women have spoken up only to be insulted rather than heard, and in the middle of this storm remains a single fact that no amount of silence can erase. A man named Charlie is gone. People who loved him and supported him simply want to know what happened and why, and yet, rather than offering clarity, Turning Point USA leadership appears to treat those questions as attacks. The organization that claims to fight censorship is now accused of enforcing it. The movement that claims to serve the next generation is accused of protecting a hidden hierarchy. And now the most dangerous question of all begins circulating. If Candace reveals everything she says she has, who falls first? Will it be Tyler Bauer, whose alleged behavior multiple insiders reportedly attempted to report? Will it be Erika Kirk, whose Romanian Angels charity is now facing scrutiny unlike anything before? Will it be those at the top who allegedly placed reputation above truth? Or will it be the entire structure, collapsing under the weight of secrets it could no longer contain? Candace ended her message with a final warning, not whispered, not suggested, but declared, "You tried to humiliate me, now I am going to tell the truth, all of it." That is what they fear. Not her anger, not her influence, not her platform. They fear her evidence, and when evidence speaks, careers change, alliances shift, movements fracture, because sometimes the truth does not vanish. Sometimes it waits, gathering strength, until the moment it forces its way to the surface and changes everything.